Well, hello YouTube. Well, by now you've seen the Clope garage door installation videos, both part 1 and part 2. So of course in part 2 we covered, well, what was going on with the garage door and basically why I'm about to do what I'm about to do. Yeah, I know a few of you are probably going to comment, why are you doing this with such a nice garage door? But at the same time, winter's coming. I have projects that I've been putting off getting done because I cannot get in the garage, nor can I have the garage door guys install a proper garage door due to the garage reno, which is kind of hinging on this garage door basically being able to be functional. So I've done a little bit of planning, a little bit of doodling, and basically what I'm going to do is end up removing this garage door here out of the garage for now. I got to set it aside in such a way that it can be reused. I am planning on putting it back in, maybe, possibly, probably not. And at that time, I would like it to be still in reasonable shape, all the pieces and parts still there, and then we can basically just reassemble it in what I'm hoping to be the completed garage reno shell, with the provisions of the garage itself already in place for this door to drop right in. Now, of course, I went down to the old lumber yard here the other night. I picked up some 2x4s here. I got those all in the back of the truck, along with some newly moistened OSB, so that should be wonderful to work with. Of course, I've got some hardware inside the garage here that we can use. And basically what I'm planning on doing is removing all the tracks, removing all the doors, basically having it to be an empty hole again, just like it was after I removed the old garage door that was in here. And of course, way back when they attempted to install a garage door in this old garage years ago, they cut out the header that goes over top of the garage door, which of course kind of caused the end of the roof over top here, which of course caused this to sag over top of the door. So I have to look at her and see how much it sagged, see if it's just an optical delusion from the door itself, or if it actually is a sag there. If there is, then I'll have to remedy that. If there's not, then of course we can continue on with the plans I have for the new home-built garage door to go into place. Now, of course, the home-built door, I'm not asking it to last 20 years, as long as it lasts 2 or 3 seasons until we get, things squared away, the garage reno itself done. Like I said there, I'd have to remove a couple of pieces, vault the ceiling a bit for one of these 7x9 garage doors to work. I know I could put a 6x8 garage door in here, but at the same time, I don't want to lose the width for the trailer and the trucks to get in, and I don't really want to lose, the height. So, other than that, we'll have to take that by what it is and go from there, right? So let's get all geared up and we'll start disassembly. Okay guys, so here we are. Sorry about the wind noise, but hey, there's not much you can do about that. Well, upon further examination, of course, of this here old garage, I've confirmed what I was thinking. This wall here is actually out by about ½ an inch. So if I'm going to hang anything on this wall that I'm planning on hinging, i.e. I'd half a door, this post, or my hinging surface, is going to have to be pretty much dead nut straight. So upon further examination, the garage is built the way I figured it would be. Essentially, this here, the plywood, is the structure of the garage, and this here, the, if you want to call it a rough cut 2x6, is the framework of the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the framework and then basically build my own framework inside this opening. And then basically what I can do is I can make it dead nut square in this opening, and the garage itself can be crooked all at once, but the opening for the door will be square enough for the door to work. So of course I'm going to end up prying the brick mold off. which is no real biggie anyways, because at the bottom here, when they cut out the header, they just patched the brick mold anyways, so I could, probably replace that anyways. It wouldn't bug me too much. Plus, once everything is all out in the open and exposed, I can see how much of that I need to fill back in to make the overhead of the door. This top rail seems to be fairly square. It's just, of course, just like I found when I did the wall in the garage back there. This one wall is out by a little bit, so we can compensate that when we go to do our framing. Just make sure that it's fairly secure and fairly square, and everything should be good. Okay guys, so here we go, a little bit of a check-in for you. Of course, just got the top plate in. I'm going to cut some little 2x4 blockings there to go pretty much all the way along there. And then once those are in place, then of course I'll nail them up. Then of course we can start putting our cut down 2x6ers in for the vertical plate pieces. Of course the standard 2x6 is too big for the studding here. Of course, this being a hand-built garage back before there really was much for building codes, I've got 3 different types of dimensional lumber, if you want to call it, in here. I've got 2x4s, I've got 2x6s, and then I've got cut down 2x6s to 4.5, right? Of course, it's sheeted with about 1/2-inch plywood, and then the walls are sheeted with 3/8. So of course, it's kind of a hodgepodge, if you will, of building practices and stuff like that. So really, you kind of got to just wing it, go by seat of your pants, and kind of try to make it the best you can. So pretty much, like I said, just got the top piece there nailed on in. I'm gonna put these cut ones in there now, kind of level them out, true them up a bit, and then keep on going. Okay guys, so here we go. Well, just got both doors framed up here. Of course, they're not nailed together or fastened together at all. They're still kind of in the positioning stage, in the planning part. Basically, it's going to be 2 pretty good sized doors. So, of course, I'm going to have to run bracing down the middle of them to keep them from sagging, and make sure they're good and fastened together, because they're going to want to come apart, obviously. I'm trying to do this to keep the doors light, as well as to make sure they're strong. So I'm building them in such a way that it goes against everything that I know to build, because I build things heavy, as well as they have to last too, so I can't build them too thin as well. Of course, just cleaning up here, hoping to make one more trip to the lumber yard for today. They close here in about an hour, and pick up some goodies for tomorrow. Of course, she's coming along fairly good there. Pretty much everything's good to go there. I gotta pick me up a 2x8 for the top piece there, just to fill all that in. I could use plywood, however, of course, I got that brick mold to put over top of it. So if I omit the brick mold and put a 2x8 there, it won't quite be as pretty as the brick mold is, but it'll serve the same purpose. So of course guys, let's get cleaned up here, and yeah, I guess we'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay guys, so here we are, a little bit of a progress check-in for you. Well, basically I had to shut her down yesterday. It was getting a little bit dark. Well, today of course, back out here again. I squared up all the cuts, squared up all the figuring on these doors here, of course, and then I started putting in the old mending plates there to basically make them into, well, one solid piece. I'm probably going to err on the side of caution and run a couple of longer screws through the 2x4s and into them as well, just to hold them. There are mending plates on the back side of these to hold them in place. However, I didn't do it to this side, mainly because, well, there's going to be OSB over here, which the OSB will hold those on. So then we don't really need them as well. Of course, the back side for now is going to remain exposed. So I'm going to put a couple extra mending plates in a few of the key areas. I've got little blockings here to go across at the 18-inch mark those are going to be where the hinges will mount onto. And of course, once the hinges are mounted, then, you know, the doors can mount in the holes. Pretty much just, you know, transitioning here from the building phase of the doors into the cutting phase of the OSB. So of course I have to take, you know, set me up another sawhorse stand and dig the OSB out of the truck. And then of course throw me some measurements and then start cutting on her. Lay them on down, of course, fire up my handy dandy Porter cable air nailer and pretty much nail them on down. I could probably put me a bead of PL Premium along here as well, just to add for some extra, you know, adhesion. You know, I got it, so I might as well use it. And then, you know for a fact that even if the nails do move, the PL will hold the wood in place. So basically, guys, gonna keep on going here, and yeah, catch you all later. Well, of course, as you seen last time, we just had the one door, well, half completed. Well, now we have two doors completed. We threw in some extra bracing there. Of course, I PL'd them in, so they are adhesed, so they are glued in, if you want to say, as well as fastened in with the nails there. I don't want to get too crazy in throwing screws through the 2x4 into the end, because of course that's our hinging surface. And I will be drilling through there for the bolts for the hinges. And if there's a screw in the way, then sometimes the bolt, you know, don't want to go through or gives you issues, right? So pretty much now the doors are ready to be insulated. However, of course, being I've got a 2x4 on its side instead of on its edge, like a normal studded wall would be, I can't put batt insulation in because I got like half the room to work with. So instead I went down to the old lumber yard, and of course I picked up some of the pink foam board here. That should do well in between the layers of plywood there. And then of course I kind of went overboard here on the outer edge. The outside of the garage, I'm going to lay 3/8 plywood instead of using OSB. I will use plywood so it will weather a little bit and you know, maybe last a little longer than 1 or 2 seasons. Okay guys, so here we are, pretty much all unloaded. I'll give you a little closer look at my well, goodies I have. Of course I have 4 sheets of 1/2-inch foam board and 4 sheets, of course 3 there, 1 there, of the 1-inch foam board. And of course the 1-inch foam board gives you an R5 and the 1/2-inch gives you an R3. And of course that's a far cry from the R14 that are in the walls. However, the way I figure, this door anyways was only about an R7 garage door, like insulation wise. So really, with the foam board, like the way I have it, it should be a better insulating value than, well, of course, the garage door was. And not to mention, you know, the insulation value of OSB and the plywood sheeting as well. So, you know, it's probably not much, but I guess it's better than nothing, right? So of course with the PL 300, the foam board adhesive that I picked up, I'm going to probably glue these in place. 1, it'll keep them from rattling. 2, they're not really going to shift much, but you know, you got it, you might as well use it. And then of course I'll put a layer of the 1-inch, you know, gluing them all down, and then I'll put a layer of the 1/2-inch, you know, and then I'll put a layer of glue, and then the OSB or the plywood, I guess it would be, on the outer edge. Then with, of course, PL around the outside, and then of course the screws to hold it. Of course, the downside to using adhesive is once it's dry, if you ever need to change the OSB or recycle this for another use, you won't be taking it apart. You know, if you go to use this in something else, you'll have to use it as this dimensions, or else it's not going to well, not going to come apart pretty, right? So yeah guys, pretty much next time you see us, we'll be, well, cutting this up, nice plywood up into little pieces to put on the door. Well, of course, got the foam board, all that in the door there. Of course I used the PL 300 to glue each layer down. So basically it's well glued to the door. Then each layer is glued, of course, to each other. Then I'm going to put a bead of PL Premium around the outer wood. And then basically the foam board adhesive on the foam board, obviously. And then, well, slap the plywood here pretty much on it. Get it all centered before it, you know, cures or sets. And then, of course, you know, fastener on down. In hindsight, doing these doors, maybe I should have used 2x3s. I know they're a little bit narrower, maybe a hair lighter. But hey, you know, whatever's right. There's no way I was going to use 2x2s because around here they're finger jointed. And I've actually dropped a 2x2 from like, you know, 4 feet up, 6 feet up, and the finger joints actually split. Now that tells me how well they're constructed, you know. So I wouldn't want to build a door out of one of them. Probably could have took the time and, you know, shaved a 2x4 in half, if you want to say. And then, you know, use them, but that's a lot of extra cutting that you really don't, you know, don't need to have to do. So of course, I just threw some tuck tape on the seams. One, it just, you know, helps to break air barrier, if you want to really say. But the main reason is, well, until the glue cures, the foam board is kind of out in the open to the wind. Because of course I'm not going to slap the plywood on tonight, because I'm going to probably shut her down here. Of course, guys, in part 2 of this whole video, we'll slap the other half of the plywood on her, then give her a coat of paint, and well, give her a hanging. So as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.